Welcome to Venator Chronicles Podcast.
I'm Dustin Jelly.
And I'm Ethan Taylor.
Join us on our journey of lessons learned through the world of hunting. Let's get ready to rumble. Oh,
Again,
we're live.
we are live.
Dude. Over 3 years in the making.
Yeah, a little bit of a hiatus.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a short
just
jaunt.
a short hiatus.
Yeah, no, we've been here the whole time. We're just
Been
not-
here, just
yeah.
not here.
Yeah, not here.
Oh, man. So I'm sure the people are wondering. The people are clamoring. The
Yeah, I
people
know
have
that.
been screaming. Where are you guys?
Yeah, I get approached a lot on the street, email, text. I mean, you name
Our
it.
social media is flooded. When
Yeah.
are you guys coming back?
Yep.
We miss you. Our lives are not the same without you.
Yeah, none of that happened actually.
Yeah,
But
actually, no. I mean, maybe in our head. Maybe it was.
I missed it though.
I did.
I missed
Actually,
it.
I didn't realize how much I missed it up until this last week.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy week. So before we jump into that, dude, let's give the people, and by people probably at this point, us, a recap on where have we been and what we've been up to and what transpired to lead for the temporary pause of VCP.
Yeah, let's do that. And to do that,
we're gonna need to go back.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna just have to bear with us
Yeah.
because Dusty,
And I actually don't think it's a horrible idea.
but
It's what the kids call a reaction video, except
Yeah,
we
it's
have no video.
We're literally
reacting
reacting.
to ourselves.
So I'm pulling up our Instagram because, to be honest, I do not remember basically where we left off.
Dude, I didn't even remember how
It was
long
really
it had
abrupt.
been
It was
until I
abrupt.
looked at it yesterday. I was like, dude, actually, how long has it been? And
We knew the
been-
answer was too long, but we didn't have the specifics.
Yeah.
Go.
So let's recap for the people here. Our last post on Instagram was
August 28th, 2021.
ouch, and that was our last episode recorded, and it wasn't even us.
It was episode 50. Look at
Episode 50, you had Seth Taylor and
that. Oh, is that what it was?
Benny Dvorak.
It wasn't with them. It was
nope,
just
it was
those
them.
two.
It wasn't even us. Like our hiatus started before that. So man,
Hello.
we abandoned the people.
Wow, that is getting. If that is not being left unread, I don't know what is.
that's bad.
Yeah.
All right, kids, we went and got the milk. We're home.
So
yeah.
let's start with you. What happened in the last couple of years? 3 years to be exact.
Gosh, good question. Let me think. So I'm trying to think when was the business started?
I don't think it was started. I think you were
Noodling?
because you didn't start till later that summer, right?
Was it 2021? Would have been.
Or was it
late
2022?
Hold on.
No, yeah, it would have been late 2021.
Yeah, bear with me. Looking back at the date. Yeah, so that episode would have been August. Yeah, we started the business in September. No wonder that we didn't record
Jeez.
anything
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, you got busy because you decided in God's good providence that owning your own business was definitely the way that you should go.
Yeah, not without its challenges, but yes. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to dive brief overview or if you just want to hey,
Yeah, brief overview.
an opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, and again, I feel like we must have talked. Anyway, it's been long enough.
Has
We'll just
been.
brief overview. Basically, oh sure,
Yeah, I
yes,
think
it's
that
okay, Dusty. You
It's
can just
drowning
say
out
it.
your
We're-
voice. I don't.
Yeah, we're
Can
good.
you shut the AC off?
Yes, I will shut the AC off.
Thank you.
That's less weird than just pointing at it and mouthing it and just hearing the slapping of your lips. So basically, I lost my job, in short, and which was like totally blindsiding. And again, super long story short, my brother and I had been talking about starting our own business before that. And so that was the way we saw it, God's kind of kick to get going. And so then I kind of got everything in place through the summer, and we launched Taylor's Landscaping Outdoor Services in September, which is the end
2021.
of the season and COVID.
Oh, that's right.
That's, I mean,
Oh man,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know
totally
if we
forgot
wanna
about
become
all
the-
that. Yeah, well, let's not visit that.
Yeah, so launched the business, and then I would say pretty much everything besides family and work more or less went to the wayside.
Yeah,
I mean, everything, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
if
you-
I were to put it in a nutshell, I would say pretty much everything besides family and work went to
Yeah.
the wayside.
I mean, we've even hardly have hung out compared to what we were the last couple of years.
Yeah, yeah, and there was I mean, business still very young. We're growing year over year, and there's good things happening in that. Still challenging, especially in winter, but I would just say that initially it was like I have no ability to choose what's happening. It's just like nose to the grindstone, 24/7. Still feels like that, but it's a little bit more time wise manageable to be able to kind of pick and choose things a little bit more. And so, I mean, that's part of why we're even doing this, is that it's like, I feel like I can take a little bit of a breath, not a big breath, but a little bit of a breath,
Coming
and
up.
start,
Coming
start
up from
thinking about
underneath the water.
yeah, so that's the work side, which obviously heavily impacted our ability to continue podcasting or not. I would say in that moment, I think just in general, both of us in life kind of were busy, but also overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm not overwhelmed now,
but we were busy.
and so it just kind of naturally stopped. I think if we were to intentionally stop it, we would have, released an episode with us doing,
We're done. Peace out.
So,
Deuces.
yeah, or farewell.
Yeah, so then other milestones will say I now have a daughter, for those who don't know.
That's right.
Yep. So I have
Actually, have you had a couple kids since then? No.
no, I had
I forget.
So
yeah.
Hendrix, yeah, he's 4, so he would have been around.
That's right.
Yeah, he would have been really little.
I forget how many.
Yeah.
What ages of all the kids you have?
Yeah. So Caden is 10, Micah is 8, Ronan's 6, Hendrix is 4, and Svea just turned 1 a couple days ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I barely
So-
keep my own kids' ages straight,
Yeah,
so I'm
so
not
we've-
keeping yours.
Yeah. Don't ask me their grades.
Yeah, or with their birth dates.
Oh, that's tough. I can remember a couple like easily because there's like, I'm not gonna say it on air.
Oh, it's
Who
terrible
knows?
when you go to the doctors and they're like, "What's their birth date?" And you're like,
Oh, dude, I
don't know.
I have to keep it in my notes so I can not feel like a total
Yeah.
moron. Doesn't change that I'm not a total moron, but it makes it look like I'm not. Yeah. So, yeah, we had the 4 boys, and then
"You finally got the girl."
finally got the girl. We're done now. We've got our 5. We're happy.
Nice.
Throwing in the
Gave her
proverbial towel.
5 kids. It's the magic number.
Is it?
I don't know. That's what I'm telling myself to cope with my 5 kids also.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel bad for your middle one?
I don't know. No, not really. I don't really feel like I have a middle child.
I'm sure they all
Given
have, they all
our
have
dynamics.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They all have their seasons.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, Hendrix was the youngest for a while, and
Yeah.
obviously he's not anymore. So
yeah.
But he had his time.
Yep.
He had his time in the
Now it's
sun.
passed.
No.
So over the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
how much hunting have you been able to do since the fall of 2021 to now the fall of 2024? So a solid 3 years.
yeah. So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna exclude the last week,
Yep.
just in
Yep.
terms of any conversation until we're ready for that.
And I'm going to look back, like you said, those 3 years starting then. So I think the first year when the business was started, I went out, I did some waterfowl hunting,
That's right.
and I snuck out for some bow hunting, and I did get, oh man, I don't remember what it was now. Maybe like a
I
6.
think you went rifle. Did you? I don't even think you got one with a. Or did you get one with a bow?
Yeah, I
Oh,
dude, I got a 40 yard.
why is that not hanging on your wall?
My kid, I gave it to my kids.
Oh, okay. Wasn't good enough. I get it.
Well, it was. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll be talking about this, and I'm sure and I know we have talked about it, but it was expectations, managing expectations, and with the lack of time, it was like I was trying to hold on to bow hunting, but because the I would say the life of me was being sucked in other directions that I just
Yeah.
couldn't, like, I couldn't pour into it. And so it just felt like kind of empty and kind of like
Yep.
rushed. And wasn't having the joy in it. And yeah, we want deer meat, but I don't want to
But
sound
you want
cocky.
the antlers.
Right, but I know that I'm like almost, I won't say for sure, but just with how many people we go and do deer drives with and how hard people grind for those 9 days or whatever it is, that I would have deer meat. And so it was really, it was like hanging on to something that was slipping out of your hands. And then, so I got a deer that year, and then I didn't pick up my bow for essentially 2 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
I know we haven't shot together.
Nope.
Because we did. When's the last time we went to Bowfest together?
Before
Was it that summer,
pulling up the gram, dude.
or was it the year before? I think it was the year before.
It was probably the year before.
Because we finally got all the
Oh,
changes.
this is so funny. Yes.
We got all the changes we had been clamoring for, and then we're like, "Yeah, we're good. Out."
Okay, we can actually touch on that super quick.
All right.
Hilarious. We were going to Bowfest, and for those who remember, we were like telling them all these ways they should change from like
For a good couple of years.
Yeah,
Like a
like
good few years.
the pricing they could do, improve. Like we were sharing it on social media.
Yep.
We tagged them in it. The pricing structure, like
parking
the
situation.
parking, and just all those things.
Not putting trad sticks at 8 feet.
Although after your shot, it did look like it should be about 8 feet.
Well, that's besides the point.
Those nerves.
Yeah. So anyway, so then they finally.
Coriolis
So then, like
effect.
the next year, after we had started everything or like gotten busy, the next year they had made those changes, and then
We haven't gone since.
I think they switched it back, but anyway, back on track.
All right.
we never get sidetracked.
Focus. No, never.
Ever.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So, man, I would just say, the last 3 years for me has been primarily just a ton of energy pouring into the business and focusing on having a better marriage and being a better dad, and then learning how to find better balance within all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so as things have become more stable in different areas and have gotten better in different areas, I wouldn't say maybe you could say you're kind of able to add to the plate, test the waters of things, and be like, okay, now how does this impact it? Like, I'll dive into it just shortly here, but like I used to be so obsessed with hunting that when I was home, I wasn't really home at times during hunting season.
Yeah.
Because
you're thinking
all I
about-
wanted to do was go and hunt.
Thinking about what's next.
Yes, exactly.
Planning, e-scouting.
Yeah. And full transparency, the podcast was the same way, where I was thinking about that, like
Content creation, all that stuff. And so now that I'm kind of getting my feet wet a little bit again, I can I'm being much more careful. There's a lot more intention within the family and communication about how we go about these things and how it impacts our life, and just being better team members together, I guess, with my wife and doing this stuff, because she loves that I have these passions and want to chase them. She doesn't love being left in the dust.
With 5 kids.
Hopefully, I'm not overstating this. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a horrible person, but I also don't want to be like, I'm a perfect person. This is just, I'm just trying to give it
I think it's
as
what every
balanced as I
every
can.
marriage goes through, especially marriage with how many kids under the age of 10? Dude, it's just tough.
Yeah.
Like you have 5 kids under the age of 10. Like that
Yeah.
is tough.
100%.
Especially any kids under the age of like 6, 5, and you have
Yep.
Having now come out of that stage finally, like I can testify that is a difficult time.
Well, what's funny is I only had the 4 boys today, and so then the youngest is 4, and I was like, oh, like I don't, like I'm there and I'm
Ready to help if they need it, type of thing. But like, they're kind of good.
yeah,
And to a degree, obviously, varying degrees. But overall, it was like, oh yeah, like there's not that constant attention and
Yep.
draw of like, where's our youngest? We're like crawling around, climbing, all that stuff.
yep.
She is the cutest, obviously, hands down.
Thanks after her mother.
No competition. What's that?
Takes after her mother.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. Basically an ogre. Yeah. I don't know if
So
there's any other like major highlights.
you tried starting your own podcast?
I don't know if I want to get into
Yeah,
that. To
we'll
be
leave it
honest.
at that.
No, it was a really important podcast to me. I'll mention it. I'll probably end up.
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, there's a lot of
The-
irony to it.
The title is ironic, I think.
Well, yeah, that's the point. It's supposed to be enticing. It's provocative.
Yeah, but it's ironic in other ways.
Yeah,
Which
and I'm not gonna put anyone on blast, but no, a big part of like once we started the podcast for what we're doing now, Vendetta Chronicles, I knew that I wanted to. I thought it would be really good practice for something that was more, I would say, of a personal project, so to say. Probably would have been better off if you just you and I did it. But hindsight's 2020. But no, there's a lot of good that came from it. But anyway, I'll stop like prefacing it. Started a podcast. It was called Men for Evil. And basically it was it was talking about kind of my story of the sexual abuse that had happened to me from about age, well, man, it would have been like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years, the duration from grooming to sexual abuse, and then everything coming out, and then just being able to kind of navigate like this thing that is like so objectively evil and bad. Being able to share, like, wrestle with the bad, and I still do to this day for sure. But then also trying to draw out the good and the things in the positive ways that it's kind of shaped me and my view of God, and the ways that it's like shaped me in bad ways and put like a bad lens on God. And so that whole thing was kind of the exploration of that. And I had hopes for it to go on longer and be, just something that
It was a good practice run. I think there's a lot left to be said.
I don't think it's done.
Yeah, I don't think it's done, but and I think it was for what it like.
if I just look at that span of time and those podcast episodes, wouldn't change them. Just based off of the feedback from people. But yeah, won't get into the details about how it unraveled more or less.
But yeah, it ended up. It was an overall good experience, I think. But yeah, so that was the as you said, the podcast that I had started outside of that, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything else major that had come up over the time till now. Are you double checking on Instagram if I've posted any major life events? Is that what's happening?
I was looking, and oh man, you're spilling your party tray.
I have a party platter, dude.
Yeah. I don't see anything. So
Yeah, I don't post as much.
yeah,
It's almost like I'm busy.
It might be just a little bit.
Yeah, I barely post it.
It's not even like loading for me. Jeez.
Oh, you need Wi-Fi.
I do.
We have the password. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Dusty? How's it going, bro?
I mean, equally as busy in different ways. Let's see. I'm thinking 3 years ago. What was going on around the time? Oh, man, I think I've been, this is year 4 now of me working my current job, delivering beer. So I was about a year into that. But for me, a lot of what my time has been consumed by was kind of an evolution of my jiu-jitsu journey. I think at the time I just switched gyms, and I got to go up to this other gym to coach. And then over the course of the last few years, it went from coaching to managing the gym to eventually taking over ownership of the whole thing. And then last year, with taking over ownership, rebranding, finding our own space and growing that. So needless to say, that's kept me very, very busy, especially this last year. Like 2023 was just, I felt like it was just kind of nonstop, just getting everything set up and trying to figure out where we're going to be moving to. A lot of stress going on there. But
Well,
that's
and actually dealing not just with like running the business, but also dealing with the daily ebbs and flows of business and
business,
people and,
yeah,
and working with
interpersonal
people.
issues and
Yeah,
people
all that stuff.
dynamics.
Yeah,
and,
that's and that really does require a lot.
yeah, and so it was quite a busy year. Just really focused in on that. Other than that, I mean, we got our kids are in sports more, but for me, and then another thing too that kind of I would say took me away from hunting a little bit and kind of the archery side of things. Like I still kind of did a little bit. I didn't, man, last year, maybe I think I went out like maybe a handful of times, like here and there. Like I didn't hardly do any scouting. It was a
Yeah.
lot of
Yep, yep.
just short little in-season scouting around my house.
Well, and that's where it was for me when I was like kind of hanging on still. It was just like on a whim, it'd be like, hey, it's okay if like we both be like, oh, now it seems like a decent time to go
Yeah.
out, and it was just like, well, I guess it's valuable for me just to get out in the woods.
Yep.
But it was like from going as hardcore as we were
Yeah.
going, I was like,
to where like getting out in the woods was just a victory in itself. Like just being able to sit in the
Yes,
tree. I definitely
exactly.
that is something I really appreciated more last year than I did any other year before. Was just a chance
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get out into the trees, into the woods, and just be able to relax and sit there and enjoy. And for me at that point, I like last year I didn't have any expectations. My only hope was like, man, if I can see some deer, that'd be cool. But just getting
you should
out.
probably maintain that for a while. I mean, you're using a trad stick.
Oh man, and then two, like it's actually your fault. This other aspect is your fault.
Oh, good.
So-
oh, good. Here we go.
All right, so I think it was.
We have a history of these turning around on Dusty. But
what
go ahead.
year did you invited me to go along on the deer drive with you and your brothers during rifle season? I think that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
I think 2 years ago, and so like I decided to go, which was really difficult because I could either have done that
Okay.
or gone to this jiu-jitsu seminar with a high-ranking
wow. I
athlete that I
didn't know that
really
you chose me.
I
You
did,
chose
I
me
did
over-
choose you.
That's
So you
wild.
should feel special, yeah. And I remember going out with my rifle at the time and coming up against a lot of inadequacies of that platform, and it sent me into a deep spiral and exploration back into the firearms world.
Do we both just have ADHD though, where we get like hyper fixated?
Kind of, yeah, kind
Okay,
of. Like
okay.
I realized, like, oh, this actually isn't that great, and like the last couple of years, I've gotten a
Let's
lot
back
more
up a
back
little bit.
into
Don't forget-
firearms.
Don't forget. You also told me at the end of the day you came out with us, you're like, I'm never doing that again. And then it was like,
But then, like, a week later-
you're like, I learned so,
So
much from about my rifle and my system I have to like tactics and like starting to think about like
Oh yeah,
how you set up on this.
yeah. Like
And it was
like
just
that
the
day in the
best.
moment was like super disappointing. Like it
And
was
probably
really a letdown.
I was gonna say it was probably a lot too.
It was a lot. It was kind of a letdown. Like I didn't really get any of the good action. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was never in any of the spots where any of the deer would come through. I think I got off one shot and that was it.
And that was at a person, I think. So I mean, dude,
Allegedly, no,
just kidding.
there's no person. It was definitely a deer, but it was just It was in the moment. It was just like, oh, this was just like, did I waste my day? And
what
then
were your expectations?
then I'd get to shoot at a deer and kill
Hold
a deer.
on, is this the same thing that had happened? It's so funny. Like
My
okay,
expectations is I'm going to be damn good at whatever I do and be the hero of the story.
Okay,
and
so
then it turns out I'm not.
well, I'm wondering if this. So like memories are like rushing back.
Remember when we went hunting for a long weekend together?
To
It
the
would've
place
been
where you
Schwamigan.
promised about all the deer that you had seen.
It was the
and then
deer
there
promised
was no
land.
deer.
It was the deer promised land,
that
and
turned into the Sahara
And
Desert.
when you came, then there was no deer. Yeah, no.
You started, yeah. Oh, there was plenty of deer on that deer drive. It was just not me
Yeah.
where all the action was happening.
yeah. So anyway, continue blaming me for improving your life and your gun
Yes,
system.
it was
Yeah,
you.
I'm
So
feeling
it
very
took a
guilty.
deep dive the last couple of years more into the firearms, and then like this summer, I spent a lot of time doing a lot of different shooting comps, which
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed that. So thank you. So all that blame
Hey.
is meant to be said as a thank you. Actually, just had one today. And
I mean, should I be saying sorry to your wife at the same time as you're thanking me?
probably,
Oh, that's fair.
probably,
That's fair.
you know,
Whoops.
so yeah. You
That
know.
wasn't my intent. My intent was for you to come out and have fun, and
Well, I had fun.
Because we
You know
couldn't-
me. It was
because we-
type 2 fun that turned into an obsession with our ADHD.
you get so rattled. Dusty.
But over the last couple of years, I've done a little bit of hunting. Like I said, last year was just a few sits. The year before was actually a really good year as far as like growth and experience. I was able to get out in a couple areas. I saw a good amount of deer.
Mm-hmm.
They do exist in Minnesota. I found out.
Yep.
It's not just a myth. But I had really close encounters. I screwed up a few times. I screwed up a lot. But it was a really good learning year. And just learned a lot that year. Had a lot of fun. And then last year, just kind of like I said, dived down to the firearms again, stuff at the gym. I just wasn't able to get out. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing the last few years and where I've been at. And then here we are.
Yeah.
A week ago, we started
Oh my gosh.
we started conversing.
I think.
So what
only-
happened?
Well,
What happened?
Well, here's first.
I don't even know what happened. This is what I want to explore. What happened? What triggered the flip?
Okay, so here I'll give you my side of it. First of all, I feel like I. All right.
Okay, we're gonna get into it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna
Oh
be good.
boy. Oh
Okay.
boy.
I'm always ready to rock and roll with the podcast. I love podcasting. It's actually one of
Yes.
my favorite things to do.
And we've been talking a lot about podcasting again.
Yeah, and
That's
ju-
been a
and not-
conversation we've been
yeah,
having
and
for
not
like
just
a
in
year.
the hunting lane.
Yeah.
We're
how we're gonna
we
change
just
the
think
world
we're-
kind of
to have
podcast.
like two white straight males doing a podcast is so revolutionary.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, and so we just really think the world's missing out if
We
we're
are
not.
breaking the mold.
Yeah, and so if we could, if we can just start to do this in multiple lanes, I really
We'll change the world. They'll never see it coming.
bad.
They'll never see it coming.
Okay. So, I would say for me in the last week, probably
Because we weren't talking about doing VCP again.
ever.
Like we were talking, yeah. Like we were like,
It went from
wasn't
0 to
it wasn't
100
dead,
so fast.
but it wasn't anything. Like,
Yes.
and we had talked about other podcasts,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
other things, but definitely not VCP. It wasn't dead, but it
well,
just
and like we still hung out, and like we still have these like
dreams and aspirations.
dreams and aspirations. We go deep in conversation, and I'd say even in this last year, it's gotten deeper than it has been ever.
Yeah.
right. Which makes it even more plausible for other stuff. So anyway, that was more, if anything, that was more where our mindset was at, is like kind of working out. I mean, I sent you like a huge,
Yeah, a
long
huge list of like, here's all the things we can talk about.
Yeah, like I was really breaking it down.
Yeah. So anyway, and that was outside of hunting. So it would have been probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that my brother-in-law essentially, I mean, he told me before this that he was going to try archery hunting, and he's done rifle hunting his whole life. But he wanted to try archery hunting, and it was like, okay, cool. And then the season kind of started to approach rapidly, and I still wasn't thinking about hunting personally
Yeah.
at all. And he texted me, and he started asking me some questions. And then I just flat out asked him, I was like, do you want me to like let you do your own thing and then just help you out where you need it, like when you need it type of thing? Or do you want me like involved with this?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, dude, like get involved, like all of it, like pretend I know nothing, like that whole thing. And so like that fire in me wasn't lit right away, but I like to help people, and it's fun to like teach people things and
Yeah.
go through that side of it and mentor in a sense. We're close to the same age, and so I don't I don't feel like we're on different levels in that sense, but essentially that's what it is. I mean, he's done rifle hunting most of his life, but this is a different animal. And so, when he had texted me that, and he was like, yeah. So I actually talked to my wife about it, because it's not, I would say archery hunting hasn't been in our life more
Yeah.
or less for the last, for sure, 2 years, barely 3
Yeah,
years.
your hunting has been deer drives in November.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, let's get some meat in the freezer. We like having a wild
Yeah.
game, and then we, waterfowl hunt and stuff, and that's quick and easy. It's with the kids. I shouldn't say quick and easy. My brother Ben, makes it quick and easy. I just show up with hot cocoa and coffee. Got all the kids.
I'm like, all right, Ben, where are we going? He's out there putting decoys. Okay. So, Mikey, which he may end up on this podcast, be on this podcast anyway at some point, because he's coming from a fresh perspective, which is always fun to hear.
Yes.
So he and I start shooting our bows together, and right away, like I'm watching him shoot, and again, it's kind of that thing where it's like, oh, I forgot like these nuances, and so like I'm showing him these things, like from every, like the draw, like where you got to think about your anchoring. We haven't gotten to like shot process mentally yet, but just having like a solid anchor, making sure your arm, like all these little tweaks and whatever. And he's
All
like,
the deets?
Yeah, and right away he's like, oh my gosh, like it feels so much better already.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like, that little endorphin kick. You're like, sweet, awesome. Like that's why you want to help and do it.
and
And then we go out scouting, and this is
Oh boy.
yeah, well, we go out scouting, and I'm out in the woods for the first time, like looking for sign, and like what's fun about it is that I'm verbalizing everything I'm thinking, and I've had to tell him a few times where I'm like, dude, if this is annoying or too much, or like you get the feeling of like, yeah, I know, just tell me you don't need to hear all the details, or like just say, yeah, I'm good on that, and he's like, no, just keep going. And so like I've been verbalizing all these things and like
starting to get all these refreshers. There's so much I forgot. In all reality, like there's a lot of things where I'm like rewatching old videos that really helped me from like the Hunting Public, Dan Infault, all that kind of stuff. Breaking it, like I'm super envious of people who hunt in non-big woods where there's like super nuanced hunting.
Seth Taylor.
yeah, dude, unbelievable, dude. Okay, anyway,
Anyhow, focus.
yes, focused.
And so he and I are sharing these experiences, and for him, it's new. For me, it's like revisiting those
Renewed.
new. Yeah, it's like renew. Ooh, it's a good word. Someone should invent that. It's renew. It's starting to renew like these experiences and the joy and the fun in it, and like being in a position. Like my wife has always liked that I hunt, and she enjoys that I do. Again, she doesn't enjoy when like I essentially get obsessed.
Yeah.
And so, like, seeing that there's a better balance, her and I are talking about, like, it more, and I'm like, there's time, like, even this morning, it's opening morning when we're recording this, it'll probably come out later, but it was one of those things where, like, before it was like, I have to be out there.
The mentality for me. Whereas now I'm like, I'm good if it's a long season, like whatever. If it works out, great. If not, that's okay too.
And so it's just like, overall, there's just so much more peace over it for everybody. And so anyway, so Mikey and I are doing this scouting. I dig up a few old trail cams. Like part of the scouting was like, hey, I've got all these pins that say there's trail cameras out there. I have no idea if they're actually there
You
or
just
if
have
I
left
went.
these cameras out
Well,
there.
I don't know if I did or not. So I'm like,
Oh,
what we'll
man.
do, like I clearly put them there for a reason, and looking at on X, which I also had to dust off digitally. Once I started looking through that, like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is all old information now, but it says I have trail cameras out there. I have no idea if I do. I'm not going to be bent out of shape if they were either stolen or I did grab them and just forgot to delete the pin, which is,
You want to send me
Excuse
those
me,
pins?
high likelihood. I'm pretty sure those pins are all useless based off of what I've went out to because it's been 3 years and yeah,
Oh, true.
looked at the areas. It's anyway. We'll not get into that part at the moment. So anyway, we're going out to all these old stomping grounds, and I'm like literally sharing these moments of like, dude, I was in that tree right there, and like real time standing at the scene of the
crime?
the crime, yeah, like explaining what happened, and like this like little fire is turning into a bigger fire, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have missed this so much.
Yeah.
And breaking it down, and then you and I we had a short time where like you'd buy a Wisconsin tag, I'd buy a
Yeah.
Minnesota tag. Well, I did it
2
once.
years.
You did it 2 years.
I did it 2 years in a row. You
and
did.
then I did it once, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good. Minnesota sucks for
Welcome.
deer hunting and other things.
And other things. Everything pretty much.
Pretty much.
Wisconsin,
Pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. So from that, I had texted the group with you, me, Seth, Ben Dvorak, and my brother Jesse.
Who we haven't heard from, so I don't even know if he's alive.
I saw him tonight. We talked.
Oh,
He's
that's
just
good.
he's busy as well. So
Excuses.
no, dude, how dare you, dude? Yeah, someone could say that about us.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, and I just text the group and I'm like, we're dusting this off. Like this is we're back in it. Like we're doing this. So like
Just trying to I'm like
Came
I'm
in like Eminem.
dude. Yeah,
Guess who's back?
back
Again.
Spare the people.
yeah. And so for me, when that group chat started heating up again, it got named Venator Alumni. There's a super cool picture of me as a mermaid as the group photo.
It is
If you haven't seen that yet,
I have it saved already.
yeah. Well, it's special. And
It went to the collection of special Ethan pictures.
yeah, and so you and I, so we're all in this group, and then of course you and I are also texting outside of this group.
Don't tell the people. Don't tell them that. The other guys will find out.
I know, but it was non-related. It's recorded. It is what it is. All right. So for me, that's what has started the fire again. Like it was, yeah. I mean, hilarious. Like, yeah. There's so many details I'll spare at the moment. But what
man.
about for you? What's changed? Because you were the one who said something.
About podcasting.
Actually, podcasting.
Yeah. So I think what changed for me, so like I said, a couple years ago, I think it was a really great year of hunting for just me personally. We didn't really do anything that year. Or did we? Was that
A couple of years ago?
2 years ago? Was that the year that we went out? I think that was.
Was it 2?
Yeah, 2 years ago we went to Minnesota.
Yeah, because we weren't podcasting. We weren't doing anything related. We were just like, hey man, we should get on go.
Yeah, let's go hunt. Like, let's just get together. We went
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Minnesota. We actually had a great summer scouting at the area we're looking at. We're like, man, we were seeing tons of deer, lots of good sun. We're like, sweet. We got there in the fall and
Yes.
not jack crap.
Oh, we saw deer. I saw one walking through.
You saw one. I didn't see any.
Yeah, you were also napping at one point, dude.
Literally
in the
outside,
field,
dude.
and I was
There's
walking
something-
peninsulas.
Hopefully, one of these years when we go hunting together, that I don't come down with some sort of sickness.
No, what I'm hoping is that I get the sickness and you take care of me,
And I
and you do all the scouting.
and scouting and cleaning up and putting all the crap away. But yeah, so that year, like I said, it was a great year. Last year was just get out, enjoy my time in the woods. And then one of the things I was kind of lamenting and just like really missed was both like even kind of coming into this year. I think I was just really missing like the camaraderie of being together, having people to do things with, both with you and then like my brother Caleb, who I did a little bit with here and there over the last few years. Wasn't much, but it was a little bit, or at least we were talking. And he's deployed this year, so there wasn't going to be any of that. And it was just really kind of, I think that was just really down. Though I did kind of, I think in some ways I kind of made an investment, not into this year, but next year.
Yes, you have, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
next year with some.
So you were anticipating.
Future-
You were anticipating next year being the exciting. Like
I kind of
you
was,
getting-
yeah. So what I did was last year I kind of went down the road of I got really hooked onto this thing with ASL longbows. And just watched a lot of videos and things on it, and I was just like, I would love to someday. I've always wanted to get it, like for the last few years, wanted to eventually get a custom bow built. But one of the problems is like I'm not going to spend $1,000 or more until I have the ability to put my hands on a bow to actually get a feel for it. Because why would I do that? And then, long story short, I come to find out that one of the best custom bowyers out there, this guy, he builds St. Patrick Lake longbows, is out of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, and is just killing it. And I was like, well, shoot, like that's not far. Like I can actually go drive there, put my hands on a bow, and so I ended up putting my deposit down for a custom bow that was going to take 13 months because that's how
my
long the wait
gosh.
list is. So I was like,
Dude,
well,
he is-
I'm
He
kind
must
of
be killing it.
yes, I'm
What
kind
is he growing the tree custom for you?
yeah, pretty much. And so I was like, well, I'm kind of investing not into 2024, but 2025 at this point.
That's wild.
So hopefully, like December, I get the email saying that, hey, we're going to build your bow. And I'm like, I'll be able to go up there and kind of figure some things out. But I wasn't really coming into this year all that excited.
Like not anticipating much of a change. in,
Yeah,
what it was
I'm
gonna
like, I'll
look
get
like.
out here and there. You know, I got a lot of plans in the works for jiu-jitsu. Be going up to Canada a couple times, so I just wasn't really thinking a lot about hunting. And then the last couple weeks, you know, with the slight change in the weather and realize like, oh, hunting's coming. Like it was kind of like really more so like, you know, I'm really looking forward to getting out into the woods and just like literally just enjoying my time in the woods. Like more so than ever. Like I said, last year that's really what made it really great. And this year, I was just like the last couple of weeks, I said, just really looking forward to that, especially with the way things at work have gone and just like wanting some just kind of like peace and quietness. And then, yeah, when you kind of messaged the group, it was just like, oh, he's back in. Like he's back into this. And I've got some codependency.
Well, in fairness, I think I do too, because I don't, outside of my brother-in-law, Mikey, being interested, I wasn't planning on any bow. Like I had,
Yeah, we hadn't talked.
I literally had not touched my bow.
No, like I don't remember the last time we've shot together.
Yeah,
I didn't touch my bow all year.
yeah, haven't.
Like,
Yeah, I think if
In
like
months.
if you're cool with it, like the next episode we'll
All
put
right.
out will be like this year, like where we're at.
yeah.
But like just how we got here to where we're like where it's like it is. I mean, there's a massive.
I think what was interesting, what I realized when I text the group, because I remember seeing text messages happening while I was too busy, and there was a bit of like,
And we haven't even talked to Seth, Jesse, or Ben
Yeah,
in probably a good year. They
Yeah.
probably thought we died.
there's a
Or
good
we
chance.
hated
There's
them.
a healthy chance, and like we were just kind of like following along on the text thread.
Yep. Yeah, we were not participating.
Yeah, yeah, and like there was a lot of that like FOMO, but it was just one of those things for me where I was like, I just kind of have to put this on the shelf at the moment, and it was if I sat there and thought about it, like I probably would have been annoyed and disappointed and like all these different things, but I think it was kind of one of those things. It was like, this is where I'm at in life. That's a bummer, but it's okay. I know there's going to be a lot of a lot of hunting after this season, so to speak.
Yep.
and I just didn't anticipate.
We'll touch on that perspective, I think, in the next podcast
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. But I just didn't anticipate when Mikey and everyone, in your circle, your support network, because like when you say yes to something, you're saying no to a lot of other things.
Yep.
And so being able to have that conversation with my wife, even talking with my boys, being like, hey, there's times that like during rifle season, 100% of the time, you guys are welcome to be there the whole time. Like we had such an awesome time last year, and it was like having these little grown men, and they were just with us vibing, and it was hilarious and so much fun. And I'm like, we're gonna have spots for time in within archery season where we're gonna be able to go and be together and do it together. And so just trying to talk with not just my wife but also my boys about like there's gonna be times where it's just dad out there. There's gonna be times where it's us all out there. And just trying to manage that expectation within all that, and everybody's good with it. And so, yeah, man, I just didn't expect it to go the way it did, and I was so shocked. Like the only people that know we're starting this as of right now is my wife and I think Mikey, because he was with me.
Okay.
So I was like, I guess we're starting that back up.
Venator alumni don't even know.
Yeah, and they don't know. They
Surprise,
don't know.
guys!
Yeah. So, and then you had texted me and you were like,
Dude,
yeah,
I think like we should podcast again. And
Yeah.
you're like, are you for real? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm back in the John Wick meme.
Oh my gosh. I'm literally looking at the text because, yeah, that was, I was legit.
Friday.
I was
That
legit,
was-
did not think you were
that was-
serious.
Was that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday.
God, dude, we
Yeah.
had,
You're like, no, you ain't. And then I think just like when we, like, it just hit that conversation that was like, okay, yeah, like I want a podcast again. Like we've talked about one in a podcast,
Yep.
but I think the other stuff we talked about, like we can talk about that more offline, just like maybe what the want, but the hold up versus this is just like, yeah, let's do this again. Like this just is fun.
yeah, this is your text on Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah. It's, dude, we might just have to fire up the VCP podcast again. And then I said, honestly, kind of feeling it.
And then
here we
the rest-
are.
And here we are. And here we
You
are.
know,
3 days later,
the
4 days
3
later, whatever.
plus year hiatus has ended.
Yes.
For
Yes.
better or for worse, we're back, baby.
We're
back.
back.